From family events to volunteer opportunities to community happenings, there is a lot going on in your community. Learn about all the possibilities and opportunities on this episode of Community Hotline.
Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel, and we're here at MetroEast Community Media in Gresham, Oregon. Tonight, we're going to be talking with a couple nonprofits who are making a difference in our community. I want to start out with Camp to Belong, the Oregon chapter, and with us tonight is Karyn Schimmels, who is a program director. Thanks for being here, Karyn.
Thanks for having us.
So, Camp to Belong is for foster kids, correct? For foster siblings.
It's for youth who are residing in foster care or other out-of-home care,
okay.
Which means they've been removed from their family of origin and they're living elsewhere. Okay. And so the camp is specifically designed to bring brothers and sisters who are separated in foster care or other out-of-home care so that they can have some quality time together in a really great, environment, as they don't get to do that.
I think that must be really, really hard. I imagine anytime a child or teen or youth is removed from their family that they've lived with, their life, it's got to be traumatic in and of itself. But if they're separated from their siblings, who at times are probably a great support for them, it's got to be very hard.
Yeah, I think that that's a common occurrence for these kids, and that it is really traumatic to be removed from the only family that you've known,
right.
Regardless of what brought that family to the attention of the Child Welfare Agency. It's still really traumatic for kids. And in families that are dealing with strife and have some dysfunction, the children usually have really strong attachments to each other. So when we traumatize them by removing them from the family that they've known, then we also further traumatize them by separating them from the people that they're closest to. It can be a pretty lonely, painful process for these kids.
I'm sure it can. Now, your background is in child services, is that correct? You have...
Yeah, I've worked here in Oregon in public child welfare and in nonprofits, but mostly for better of over 20 years for the Department of Human Services in public child welfare.
So you've probably seen firsthand how that can affect families, especially kids, if they're taken away from their families and separated.
Yeah, and I think that that's probably what really got me interested in this particular program, was just through my work that I had been involved in. And at the time, I was really deeply invested in a caseload, of families that I was working with, and a lot of the children were separated from each other. And when I went to go and visit with them and spend time with the kids, as a lot of our caseworkers, all of our caseworkers do, here in Oregon, is to really spend time with kids and listen to what is on their hearts and minds. That's when I would hear from them about how much they miss their siblings. And it just was one of those gnawing questions, like, why is it and why are they separated? And so when I would go back and try to investigate, reasons that the separation occurred, it was generally because of circumstances that were really out of their control.
Right.
It was more sometimes the time that the placement occurred, if it was in the middle of the night, and sometimes it has to do with a really large sibling group and not having a home that has enough beds or bedrooms.
I imagine it's much more difficult to place
yeah.
several kids than it would be one. I mean, it's just the placement alone is going to be an issue. So I can understand how it happens, but it certainly doesn't make it easier for those kids.
Exactly, and there's just resource, to find that kind of resource and to find families that are committed to maintaining sibling connection and really having a whole group of children, come and join their home and join their family. It's a big commitment.
Oh, it is.
But on any given day, here in Oregon, we have over 9,000 children that live here in foster care or in other
that's a big number.
care.
That's a big number,
Yeah.
Karyn. So tell me what Camp to Belong does to help these kids. I know you said it gives them some quality time together. You have it's a camp, obviously.
Yeah, we're a member camp organization.
Which means what?
Which means there is 11 member camps nationwide. We also have one in Australia.
Oh, wow.
And so Oregon is one of the members of Camp to Belong International. And we're our own independent, member camp here, and we operate our own,
You
program
do it pretty
and
much the way
camp.
you want to do it, but all the camps
It's
are
a
similar?
replication program.
Okay.
And so if you went and visited any of these other camps in the other states, you would see very similar things because there's very purposeful programming and intent that's involved around this particular camp program. And a lot of people say, well, what can you do in a week? And you'd be amazed at how you can positively impact a child in a week in a camp experience like that. And I remember going to camp when I was younger, and it was really empowering, to go, and very liberating because I wasn't under my mom and dad's nose, and I was with adults, but they were younger, and at that time I probably thought they were cooler. And
Yes, I'm
hipper.
sure. I'm sure.
And I learned things, and to spend a whole week in the outdoors and to explore, just that curious side of the outdoors and science, but to be able to do that with their brothers and sisters and create really positive memories is a really great thing for them. Yeah. And, we take away a lot from kids when they're removed from their families and they have to live in other, home situations. And this is just one of them. And a lot of times I share with folks when I'm talking with them that there's a lot of issues, in child welfare, and sibling separation is one of them. But I feel strongly that it's often one that gets overlooked because there's so many other systemic, issues that we're trying to address in terms of child safety. And it's just sad because 1 out of every 4 kids here in Oregon is living without a brother and a sister. And that's been something that's really tugged at my heart over the years. Having grown up as the youngest of 7 kids and having a twin brother, I can't imagine growing up without my siblings and having those experiences. So
You provided us a video and some pictures. I'd like to take a look at that video, at least a few minutes of it if we can, because I watched the whole thing and it was really enlightening to me how powerful this must be for some of those kids.
Yeah.
So maybe we can take a look at a few minutes of that now.
all right.
Imagine being ripped from every member of your family and trying to live in a whole new one.
You kind of need your siblings because you're in foster care because your parents aren't there. So if your parents aren't there, then you take away the sibling, you really don't have anything.
He hasn't seen me do any sports since like elementary school, which is a pretty much of a bummer.
We haven't spent a birthday together and
Since we shared birthdays.
yeah, which was like 6 years ago.
When I need to cold is when I'm feeling down.
I feel really sad because everyone else gets to see their siblings every week, every month, and the only thing we have is this camp that we get to see each other. The only thing.
Everybody says it's hard to explain the magic that happens here. You have to come to realize it, because when I tell people about camp, they're like, oh, that's a good thing. And it's like, you don't realize how good it is until you're here.
Camp all at once is so frustrating, and it's so exhausting, and it's so irritating, and it's so happy, and it's so heart-wrenching, and it's all these things just wrapped up together and a ball.
You have the ability to create meaningful family relationships in the absence of parents being part of the picture.
I say my mom, and then I catch myself when I say my foster mom, and then I end up having to explain foster care.
Like, we're all in foster care. They know how that feels. We're separated by our siblings. Sometimes they don't see their siblings ever.
People, they understand about foster care, and at school people don't.
It felt really good to have someone else that understood what you're going through.
During the day at camp, we do some pretty traditional camp activities.
If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Do it loud. Do it loud. Loud.
Money, good day. Come on.
Way to help him. Nice.
Go Jose.
Oh! Okay, come on.
This camp is the best thing I've ever had. I get to have a week with him and get to know him more and just to have fun.
What we see is that first, they begin to cultivate a relationship. We also then see them begin to become advocates. What I would hope for them, that they would take control, that they would use the system for their benefit as they try and get tech training or a college degree or whatever it is that they aspire to reach their goals and to reach their independence and to be able to matriculate out of that system and not repeat the cycle.
The strongest thing that resonates with me when I drive away from camp and I crumble into tears is that it's about the fact that they are separated just to begin with, and that they're going back to that separation. And I can't imagine what that must feel like for them in their hearts. So that's the hardest part about camp, is just knowing that that separation occurs, that it's a part of daily life in hundreds and thousands of kids' lives.
Wow, that's powerful stuff, Karyn. These kids that come to the camp, are they all Oregon kids? Or?
Not always. I mean, we serve Oregon, and oftentimes there'll be a brother or a sister in another state. Oh. And we are able to identify those kids and talk with their guardians and make it possible for them to come to camp.
So you'll have kids. So some kids probably never get to see their siblings at all. If they live in other states, I imagine it's really rare for them to get together.
Yeah, and we have a couple of sibling groups that come to camp every year, and that's the only time that they see each other is at camp.
I bet they look forward to that all year long.
They do.
The handsome gentleman in the video there that they call Big Daddy, he is your husband, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
So Charlie and you are the co-directors of the program. Mm-hmm. And how many staff do you have?
Well, we recruit volunteers every year, but we have a very high returning counselor rate. Good. People that have been with us year after year, because it's very hard to describe it in words.
I'm sure it's a powerful experience.
Yeah, and we often tell people that you'll get as much out of it, if not more, as the kids do, just because they really touch your hearts. And the opportunity to just be outdoors with a group of kids and bring joy and create positive memories for them, and just to have a blast for a whole week and play.
It looks like fun.
Is really a lot of fun for them.
I have a couple more questions about the camp, but your staff are not paid staff, is that correct?
Yeah, we're an all volunteer-run organization, and so we have counselors that come from all walks of life. Retired teachers, businessmen, sales guys, IT guys, teachers, nurses, social workers. It really just requires having a real heart and passion for kids and wanting to make a difference. And we, do a background check on all of our counselors in an interview, and we select new counselors every year. But we do have a really high rate of returning counselors year after year that we call our veteran counselors. And we really try to encourage that so that we have veteran counselors and we have new counselors so that we can pair them together and help the new counselors get through their first week and first year of camp. Just as we do with campers. We have returning campers that come every single year, and then we have new campers that show up. And when they show up, they're really anxious, and so the veteran campers, if you will, help them out and tell them to give camp a try. And you really see a change in those kids the first couple of days that they're at camp, and they're just in a really unusual situation when they arrive at camp, because they're all kids that live right here in our communities, and they're in our backyards, and they go to our elementary schools and to our high schools, but they don't walk into their communities and into their school settings and say, "Hi, I'm in foster care."
No.
You know, but what they do when they get at camp is they realize within the first couple of days that they're actually at a setting where there's 90 other kids that are just like them, that understand what it means to be in foster care or other out-of-home care, that understands what it means to be separated from family, you know, from brothers and sisters, and to understand what that despair is like and what that pain feels like. And so it becomes pretty therapeutic in a lot of ways for them, even though it's not a therapeutic camp. It's a very safe environment for them to let their guards down and to just be kids, which is our whole goal.
That's great. Now that video, is that available to be seen on your website?
Yes, we have a link to it there.
Okay, I would encourage people to watch it, because I watched the whole thing, and I mean, it goes on to show like a dance that you have at the end, and the kids dressing up, and oh my gosh, it was so moving, and it just was so wonderful.
We try to really make it a good experience for them, and we do a lot of the traditional camp activities during the day, but we group the kids by sibling groups, and we have one adult for every 3 kids that are at camp. So our adult to child ratios are very high, so we can provide a really good, safe, healthy environment for the kids. And then at night, we have a lot of surprises for them that we don't tell them about, and that's what we call our signature programs. And how I mentioned earlier in the show that we have member camps all over the nation. They do the same signature programs that we do. Like one night we have a birthday party. And if you think about it, these kids don't live together, so they most often are not able to spend their birthday together.
Which is a special thing for almost every child.
Yeah, so we have them go shopping in a birthday shopping center that we've set up at camp. And we have volunteers and community partners that donate gifts throughout the year. And we set that up, and they can choose a gift for their sibling, and they wrap that gift and they make a card. And then we have a company that makes a birthday cake for each sibling group that's individually designed with their names on it. And it's not just a simple cake that you would go and pick up at a store. It's a beautifully decorated cake with a lot of care and something really special. And then we just suspend reality for one night. We pretend like it's everybody's birthday.
I love it. I love it.
We have a huge birthday party.
So I imagine you have a lot of great partners and partner organizations and people that work with you. But you obviously need help in raising money. So you have an event coming up that's going to help out.
Yes, we do. We have a yearly auction that's held at Stoller Vineyard, which is down in the Dundee, McMinnville area. Beautiful wine country, and it's a beautiful vineyard, and they have been very generous over the years and donated their venue to us so we can host this event. It's our only fundraiser that we do each year. It's our largest fundraiser, and obviously very important, because every dollar that we raise there that evening will go directly to the kids, because we are an all volunteer run organization. And I do have a lot of people that say, you must have a lot of help, but I can always use more help. And it's a consistent year-round effort. We have a dedicated group of volunteers that work really hard year-round, that do grant writing, that do other small fundraising efforts to raise the needed funding to make this camp program happen every year.
That's wonderful. We're just about out of time, but I think we have a few pictures. Maybe we can show them while we talk about this a little bit more. But this event is called Bid for Sibs.
Yes, it's called Bid for Sibs, and it's at Saturday, April 13th at Stoller Vineyard. And tickets can be purchased online at our website at www.camp camptobelongoregon.org.
Okay, and we can't say prices on the air, but if people want information about it, they can go to the website.
Absolutely, there's a whole page that has information about the auction, and participation is really important so that we can make that happen for these kids. They're counting on it.
Wonderful. And then one more thing, you have a sibling events fund. And can you tell me about that just in like less than a minute?
Absolutely. We are not just a camp. We try to do year-round activities. So in this last year, we did 4 other sibling events in the Portland metro area, and we provide an opportunity for kids to get together again. We also provide funds to siblings who are having difficulty having connection with each other. So we may be able to purchase a bus pass or a webcam so that they could Skype. So there's a restricted fund that we use strictly to enhance sibling contact.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, well, we're out of time, Karyn. That went really fast. But if people are interested in volunteering, donating, you'll take monetary donations. Obviously, can people donate like some of the clothing for the fancy party that they have, or items for the birthday party?
Yep, and we have a wish list on our website that talks about things that we really need, and it really helps when the community reaches out and contributes, because we are all volunteers and we all work full-time, but we just do this because it's done a lot for our hearts, but it does a lot for kids, and we've served over 700 kids in Oregon since we've been here.
You know what, keep up the good work, because it's a wonderful organization. So please do check out their website and participate. Go to the Bid for Sibs auction, or maybe give to the Sibling Events Fund, or just be aware of it and pass on the word. Thanks for watching this first interview on Community Hotline tonight. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Birch Community Services.
KZME Radio is a new station that is committed to entertain, inspire, and connect our community through programming that celebrates local music, arts, and culture. It was created to put local music and local arts on local radio, and it is a vehicle for our creative community to gain exposure while also celebrating what the Portland metro area has to offer.
Hey folks, I'm Mike Midlow from the band Pancake Breakfast. What's so cool about KZME? Well, it's local music. You know, you can't go to every live show. Believe me, I've tried. So you could tune into KZME and hear a bunch of music that you might not get to see otherwise. Why should you support KZME? Well, it's pretty obvious. I mean, if you like Portland Town, USA, homegrown music, independent radio, and if you believe in the powers of rock and roll, then contribute to KZME. It's music where you live.
My favorite thing about community media is how people find their voice and tell their story.
It's the message of, by, and for a community.
We're a gathering place because it gets people of all sorts of different backgrounds underneath one roof.
It's art, it's technology.
A snapshot of our community.
Going live in 3, 2, 1.
The League of Women Voters makes history.
Our country would not be the same without their dedication.
Formed by women who organized to win women the right to vote.
It is now a co-ed organization.
Studying, informing, and acting.
Nonpartisan.
Grassroots.
Influential.
Taking political stance on many issues.
The League of Women Voters encourages all citizens to be informed and active in government. Join the League of Women Voters of East Multnomah County in making history today.
Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel, and we're here at MetroEast Community Media in Gresham. And now with me tonight I have Andrew Rowlett, who is the warehouse manager and man who does it all at Birch Community Services. Thanks for being here, Andrew.
Well, thanks for having us.
I understand you've been with Birch for a very long time. Is that right?
It has been quite a while.
Because you're not that old, so
I know. It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
I actually started being involved with Birch when I was 6 years old. I was very little. And
I'm guessing that you had some other family members maybe participating, or did you just go decide to volunteer on your own at age 6?
Yes, I drove right over there and was like, I want to help out. No, my mom and Suzanne and Barry Birch, the founders, were very close friends. And when Barry and Suzanne started, they had a few loaves of bread in their townhouse. And we were one of the first families that needed help. And they called us over and they said...
So you actually benefited from their services?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they used to have us help out. We would sort bread, and they just had it everywhere. It was on their couch and the front porch. It was pretty interesting.
Townhouse, you're not going to have that much room to spread out.
No.
So it started out very small. Birch Community Services was very small out of somebody's townhouse. It's grown significantly. So how long has that been?
It's been over 20 years now.
And so tell me about Birch Community Services now. Tell me first about the food program, because that's how it all started out. What are you doing now at Birch?
So Birch Community Services now has been serving local working poor families, like I said, for over 20 years. And we help them regain financial stability through food donations, through clothing and education. We have a very large warehouse, and it's set up kind of like a grocery store. And families will come in and they'll shop. Now, obviously, they don't have to pay for anything. And with the money that they're saving, they're able to put that towards different debts. A lot of them have medical debt, or they were laid off recently and they have to deal with the consequences of that. And so we want to come along and be able to help them with that. And so they get a lot of food that way.
So it's not just a handout.
No, it is a hand up.
A hand up, yeah. And that makes perfect sense, because a lot of times people are in a cycle that it's hard to break out of, but so often people are in a situation they've never been in before, especially with the economy, kind of tanking. I imagine there's a lot of people that all of a sudden are without a job and don't know how to manage that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me about, you said something about working families. So is it a requirement that the people be working?
It is. It's a requirement that the people be working or actively looking for work.
Okay.
We want people that can step up, and if they can't step up and really join the program, because we're all about accountability. We want people that are going to get there, that want some help, that are willing to receive that help, and then that can also help themselves. And we do that through a lot of different programs within Birch Community Services walls. We have a finance class that everyone's required to take. And that is a huge, huge marker of whether or not somebody's willing to really kind of take a responsibility and say, you know what, I want to make a difference in my own life and I want to move forward. And we really want to be there to help them make those changes that are not going to just help them immediately, but help them in the long
term. Yeah. I like that, because I like that you have that accountability factor in there, because you always hear people complaining about government programs where you're helping people and how so many people are just living off the system, and it's a cycle that's never broken. But here you're asking them to break that cycle, giving them the tools to do it.
Yeah.
So besides the financial class, which is required, what other kinds of classes or workshops do you have to offer?
Oh, we have lots of different classes. Some are really fun. We have chicken classes. We also have...
Chicken classes, meaning what?
We teach people how to raise chickens.
Oh, okay. So,
I know.
Yeah, so you can just have a couple in your backyard?
Yes, it's a lot of fun. But also along with that, we have a lot of classes like Excel on your computer.
Oh, okay.
Because we want people to be able to not only get a job, but we want to better them and be able to keep that job.
Sure.
If someone was just laid off, well, now they need those skills to be able to
maintain. Computer skills are key. Yeah. What about if somebody's job hunting? I know there are services through the WorkSource and places like that where people help you with resume building and all that kind of stuff. Do you refer people if you don't offer classes that can help them? Do you refer them to other agencies? Do you have those kind of connections?
Absolutely. The really fun part is not only do we have over 600 families on our program, but we also help anywhere between 40 and 60 nonprofits in the area.
Oh, how does that work?
So every morning before the families come in, we have, like I said, 40 to 60 nonprofits that come in, and they'll shop just like a family. If we have any surplus of anything, we want to be able to help them. Because we know that if you're focused in and you're helping your specific demographic and not spread too thin, you're really going to be able to help them in a way that is going to impact them long term.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. So you help the nonprofits, and then you have the chicken class.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned that you do cooking classes.
We do, yeah. We have some cooking classes. We'll have different people that volunteer that'll come in, and they'll teach the families how to cook. And the best part about that is we only use product that we can find in the warehouse that they're shopping.
See, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So somebody comes in and they go shopping. They can look around. So instead of just getting a box of food that may have peanut butter and your kid's allergic to peanuts, or they might have beans and you don't eat beans for whatever reason, you can go and shop for the things that your family will eat, or if you don't know, if you've never cooked with them, you can take a class and learn how to cook with them.
Exactly.
Is there a focus on cooking economically?
There's a focus on cooking smart. So not only are we receiving product that you would expect, like canned goods or something like that, but we also receive a lot of different produce and things that are maybe a little more obscure, different cheeses and things like that. And so we teach those families how to be able to utilize that and make meals that their family really can use throughout the week that is also very nutritious. We don't want to just give people chips or something like that. We really want to be able to help them be healthy.
Yeah. When you say produce, a lot of agencies that are able to help feed those who need it, and God bless them all, but there are a lot of them who mostly give out canned or packaged goods. Where do you get your produce from?
So there are a number of different sources. We have a bunch of different nonprofits in the area that give us produce. We also have a lot of donors that give us produce. But something that's really unique about Birch Community Services is that we have a bunch of community gardens that we started up.
Oh, you started them?
We absolutely did.
Oh.
Yeah, and so our families actually go out and they'll learn how to garden because we have teachers at these gardens. So our families will go out, they'll learn how to garden, and then they bring the produce back to the warehouse so that everybody gets a little bit of it.
That's
and
great.
It's wonderful.
And then if they do have a place where they can garden, or maybe even an apartment garden, because I know that's sort of getting to be a big deal now, maybe they can take that home and have their own little garden too.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And what's really great is when you go out there and you watch their families are out there and they're volunteering and they have their kids out there and their kids, have never really involved themselves in any kind of gardening. And they get to, wow, Mom, this is what a carrot looks like? It didn't come from a store? This is incredible. Wow.
I know, I was talking to my daughter not very long ago, and one of her favorite memories was going over to Grandma's house because Grandma had a garden, and they remember pulling the carrots out of the ground by those leafy stems and pretending they were Bugs Bunny, eating the carrots. And, and kids love that stuff. And, it makes the food real, and knowing where it comes from is important. But also getting those kids involved in the volunteering that young is really a great thing, I think. Yeah. Obviously, you started very young.
I did.
So you now work for Birch Community Services.
I do. I have for about 4 years now.
And as warehouse manager, what does that mean? You're just in charge of this goes there and you put that over there and.
Oh, well,
it's a little more than that, maybe.
It is a little bit more of that, but the best part about it is at Birch, it's a team effort. We have 5 full-time employees, but we also have last year we had 30,000 hours of volunteer. Work. Yeah. So without
you have to
that,
manage a lot of that then?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Every single day we have volunteers that are coming in that help out, and we go around and delegate those volunteers to be able to kind of help each other in this community to be able to keep things running smoothly and inexpensively. So,
nice. I think we have a short video clip that that I want to show that I have not seen yet. So I'm gonna watch it with the rest of the audience here. But I think it was it a news?
This is actually really exciting. We recently had NBC Nightline News come out for 3 days.
I remember that. I read about that in the paper. Yeah.
For 3 days they came out and they videotaped every move we did, and then they shot it nationally.
That's great. That's really great support. Well, let's take a look at that now.
Okay. Wonderful.
All right.
With so many Americans struggling to make ends meet, food banks across this country, as you may know, have been stretched to the limit. But Portland, Oregon has what might be a new model for neighbors helping each other. In order to get, you also have to give, and it's a formulation that appears to be working well. Our report tonight from NBC's Lee Cowan.
Sometimes a grocery store is more than just a place to shop. At Birch Community Services, it's a place to survive.
It's helped feed my family
The average family who shops here has 5 kids and earns just $40,000 a year. But every item, from the bread to the boots, is free.
Thank you
so much.
I can't imagine anything more fulfilling than getting free stuff and giving it away.
How are you doing? Barry and his wife Suzanne run Birch Community Services. Their goal is to help the working poor. But while the food and the clothes are all free, there's still a price to pay.
People step up or step out. It's that simple.
That means no free lunch. To shop here, families pay $50 a month for a membership, sort of like Costco. They have to volunteer in the warehouse twice a month.
Then let's dive right into it.
And they have homework. Families are required to attend at least one home finance class as well. And there are 600 other families just like them, getting a hand up, not a handout. It is a remarkable story of success, made even more remarkable by the fact that it was born of personal failure.
When I was 40, I lost everything I had. It was actually eating out of a dumpster.
Years of alcoholism and gambling had taken their toll. A handout wouldn't have helped. Accountability did, and a business model was born.
Bless you. This program is probably 90% about people and 10% about food, and most of the other programs are the reverse.
It's not for everybody. Tough love hurts sometimes, but it can't be quite as tough as the times. Lee Cowan, NBC News, Portland.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was great. Great exposure, too. But I love the accountability factor. I mean, that's a huge thing, and that really does set you apart from a lot of organizations.
It really does.
Tell me, as long as you've been around, you've probably seen this program and this organization change some lives. Can you give me any little stories, anecdotes, or anything about how people have been affected?
Well, if you don't mind, I have a personal story.
Sure, that's even better.
Yeah, as I said, I started out on the program with my family. We were struggling. My dad had been laid off. And Suzanne and Barry created this environment where we were able to get through until he got work again. And that was wonderful. And then I went off and, I did high school and everything else. And I started school and college. And next thing I know, I was on the program. I had broken my leg without insurance and had major surgery on it and was in over my head in debt. Yeah. And I was really just struggling, trying to figure out what to do. And Barry and Suzanne said, you know what, come on by. We want to be able to help you out. We want to teach you how to pay off that debt and stay out of debt. And I can say I've done that.
You are a success story right there.
Thank you. It's because of them.
That's great. Well, they're obviously really caring and very special people. Mm-hmm. So, and they've been doing it for a long time now. So, what does the future hold for Birch? Do you have? How do you support yourself? Is it from donations, or support the organization from donations, or do you have grants? What?
Well, a little bit of everything, actually. We are self-sustained, so everybody that's on the program pays $50 a month, and that pays our overhead, electricity, refrigeration, that kind of thing. None of our product, we don't buy any of it. Every bit of it is donated. So, if we get in a pallet of milk, family gets a pallet of milk. It's wonderful. We also, and this is really exciting, last year we did our first replication seminar. Ever since we were on national TV, people have been calling us and saying, we really want to do what you're doing in our city. How can we do that?
How great to be the model for for the rest of the country.
Yeah, and we never knew that would happen. We just, Barry and Suzanne and all of us, we just wanted to help people. And now we're able to do this replication seminar. We're going to have another one coming up. And it's
so
going to
other
be all
places
over.
Around the country.
Yeah, there's actually a place called Hope Station that's in Salem that was a member that wanted to start the same thing, and now it's all over the country. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Well, it's something to be proud of, I think. Yeah. Do you anticipate staying there?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be here for the long run.
Yeah,
you're not going to see me going anywhere.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, Andrew. Before I let you go here, I just want to make sure I know that the website is www.birchcommunityservices.org. If people are interested in volunteering, donating, can people attend workshops and classes even if they are not part of the program, or do they become part of the program and then they're able to?
Part of the program, and then they can take part.
Okay.
If you want to be involved, go to the website, and then we have all the different links that you could possibly need to be able to really get involved and possibly donate or just donate your time and volunteer.
Or if you need the help yourself, or know of somebody else who does, and are willing to actually put some effort into it and be accountable for for what you get there, then contact you or contact Birch Community Services.
Absolutely.
That's great. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure. And thanks for watching this episode of Community Hotline. We had a couple of great guests here tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm Monica Weitzel. We'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Luke Perry. You're watching MetroEast. Over 25 years of great community media.
Alone, our reach is limited. No matter how great our intentions, on our own, we can only stretch so far. But at Rotary, we believe the right group of people working together can make our communities, our world, a better place. Rotary, humanity in motion.
¿Están listos?
Free GED classes.
Are you ready? Clases gratis de inglés.
Yo estoy lista.
Transportation for free. I'm ready.
Clases gratis de computación. ¿Qué listos?
We're ready.
Come to listos. If we can do it, you can do it.
What am I supposed to do with all these corks? Turn them into a cork board. What about all these floppy disks? How about a fantastic journal? I wouldn't learn how to make cool things like that. Well, come on down to Scrap. Scrap has monthly workshops where you too can learn how to make great things. We provide everything you need. For more information, call 503-294-0769 or go to www.scrapaction.org. Scrap. Create more, consume less.
Vienna Star was my guardian angel when my life was in shambles. They helped me find counseling and shelter.
Vienna Star is great. They helped us pay our utility bills.
And find health resources.
I'm in college now because Vienna Star helped me find scholarships so I could put myself through school.
Call 503-823-4000 to find out if Vienna Star can help you.
Gracias, Vienna Star.
What local community media is to us is literally our lifeline to what's going on in the lives around us.
The absolute most important thing that happens in your neighborhood.
People's local communities are usually what's most important to them.
Because we're the faces, the smiles, the peoples, and the personalities of the community.
To not only give people a voice, but to have their voice heard.